If you're here today, there's something running through your mind that you want to do. There is no reason for you to be here today unless there's something running through your mind that you want to do. How many people here are over 40 years old? Raise your hands. Raise them high. Raise high. Don't be scared. Raise high. There's no, Jesus Christ, this is a young crowd. For the very small percentage of us here that are over 40, thanks brother, there's like 8 of us, bro. For like the 11 of us, look, this is a lot of fun. For the 11 of us, we lived life before this. We were grown-ups already before the internet came. I was 18 years old. I'd lived my life, at least the childhood part of my life, without the internet. The biggest thing that excites me, especially in a mature internet market like here, WhatsApp and Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and Spotify, like there's so much opportunity and you don't even have to leave your home. There was no building your life, after hours when I was growing up. When you had a job and you had to take care of something, you didn't then start another job because it was late. But now this allows it. The biggest thing that I want to get across in this little moment of this speech is everybody in here is taking this for granted. Your grandparents, your great-grandparents, your great-great-grandparents, they didn't have this. If you aren't succeeding or attacking your success with this in your hand, then what are you doing? Every single person here has the opportunity to create a profile and a presence online, whether it's yourself or your business or your idea, and the cost is zero. I love when people get mad when Facebook or Instagram's organic reach goes down. I keep reminding them it's free. How many people here are on Instagram? Raise your hand. Over the next year or two, Instagram's reach is gonna go down because more ads are gonna go in. So as you can imagine, I'm so passionate to get you to post 3 or 4 times a day, not once a day, yet everybody overthinks their posts so much because they're so scared not to get as many likes as they did last time. It's true. It's 100% true. The amount of people here who want to post something but retake it 53 times or change the filter or things of that nature, or my favorite move, you post it, but in the first 83 seconds, you don't get enough likes and you remove it. It's a fascinating thing for me to watch because what it speaks to is, in my opinion, people being confused about the game. I view the game macro. I watch most people play micro. You're not in the business of getting likes on Instagram, yet you're pandering to the machine of that. You're in the business of creating awareness for whatever you want. You want people to know what you want them to know, whatever that may be. Business, raise money for a charity, sell something, become a personal brand, whatever it might be. Whatever it might be, that's what you want, yet people get so caught up in the semantics. Listen, what I can tell you from my career is this repeats over and over and over again. In 2006, I started one of the first YouTube shows, period. It was the longest show on YouTube when I launched it. YouTube wasn't even a year old. I sat in front of a camera and I drank wine for 30 minutes and a lot of people watched it. A year later, Twitter came out and I was one of the first people to move on that. I invested because I got smarter at that point, but I also was one of the first people to amass 1 million followers on that platform. Before I did YouTube and Twitter, a year or two earlier in America and many other parts of the world, MySpace had won and dominated, and there were people that won on that platform. If you pay attention to what happened on MySpace, if you pay attention to what happened on YouTube, if you pay attention to what happened on Twitter and then Facebook and then Vine and on and on and on, it's all the same game. In the beginning, if you move quickly, you can get more attention. Most people get frustrated that they aren't first and then they don't go all in because they think they missed it. However, winning on these platforms is a game of being better, not first. Being better comes in 2 ways. This is where it gets very important, my friends. Being better on putting out content only comes out in 2 ways. Either entertainment, right? Or information. If you are putting out content on these websites and trying to grow, you want to succeed and build an audience, You either do information, you know what you're talking about, whether it's painting nails, business, wine, sneakers, hair care, I don't care what it is. You either know or you entertain. Entertainment comes in a lot of ways. This is playing out on Instagram. Entertainment comes in being funny. Entertainment comes in being musical. Entertainment and escapism comes in being attractive, being a model. It all plays. If you're lucky enough to have both, it gets really crazy. But if you do not do one or the other, you lose. If you go look at your Instagram account right now and look at the last 10 posts, my question to you is very simple. Did you post those posts for your audience so they could be entertained or informed? Or did you post it for yourself, for your own self-esteem or insecurities? Let me save you time. You posted it for yourself. The biggest takeaway that you could have from here, in my opinion, is a couple things. Number one, you are very fortunate to live in a country with disproportionate advances on these platforms. When I look at the data of how much attention is on this device and those 6 platforms in this country and the size of this country, it is staggering. This is one of the best places in the world to produce content for YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's one of the best places in the world. See, you did it again. You clapped for yourself. Oh, actually, fun fact, back to this amazing place and the internet and apps. I don't know if a lot of you know this, but I was actually one of the first 5 investors in Path, which was a huge app here for a long period of time before it shut down a year ago. So because I was an early investor in Path, and because this became the biggest market for Path 4 or 5 years ago, I spent a lot of time paying attention to this market from far away. And what I can tell you is this, the beauty of the people that live here, and there's so much, it's funny, there's so much amazingness, in the world that I see, how many people here consume my content? Raise your hands. Thank you. Thank you. So if you do, you have a good sense of me. You can imagine why I love Indonesia so much. All the love and optimism and warmth plays out here. But the biggest thing that I'm passionate about is getting people to be less insecure and care less about what people think, especially their parents, plays out here too. And so for me, it's a really interesting market to look at with trends and how people do things and what they respond to and who they follow and why. And so what I can tell you is, if you are capable to be strong enough internally to start posting on these platforms more truth, more your truth, your truth, you will see a remarkable return on that investment in this market.
So you spend a minute each on those? So basically 3 minutes each, 3 1/3 minutes each, and we're done, all right? How many want to try it, all right? Then let's do it. So before you do, stand up. Shake your body out, and if you're gonna relax, the fastest way to relax is first push yourself to a high level of energy, then it allows you to drop deeper. So find a partner and go, I own ya.
So I'm a guy, I appreciate every facet, every phase, what some may consider to be success, failure, opposition, ups, downs. I appreciate every facet of life, and I firmly believe that life is the greatest classroom, right? And when I encounter situations, my perspective goes to a place of, okay, life, what are you trying to teach me right now? But it wasn't always in that space until the year of 2006, when I was at the University of Tennessee pursuing this dream to go to the NFL, which I soon found out it didn't just stand for National Football League, it also stood for not for long. But when I was pursuing this dream to happen and manifest, in one moment, I lost everything I had been working for my whole life. And the next day when I woke up, my life has never been the same ever again, right? And so when it happened, not only did it alter my life, God stepped in, used the situation to alter my perspective. And so I look at people, situations, places, and things, I view it differently, right? And so I landed in Seattle a couple of months ago around midnight. Right, an amazing thing happened. I land in Seattle, a gentleman picks me up from the airport, and we ride to my hotel, and when I get out of the car, I say to the gentleman, man, thanks a lot, I greatly appreciate it. And he says to me, no problem, I just want to let you know, I'll be the guy that's coming back to pick you up in the morning. I said, okay, great, what time would you like for me to be down? He says 7:15. I said, great, I'll see you then. The next morning I come down, we greet each other, we get in the car, we're riding to the venue that I'm scheduled to speak, and maybe 5 minutes into the trip, I look up and I look in the mirror and the gentleman is crying his eyes out. And I say to him, sir, is everything okay? And he responds, I want to paint a picture for you. He said, my normal job is not in transportation. I'm not a driver. He said, my buddy owns the company. He said, whenever he gets overwhelmed with shifts, he'll call me and say, hey man, can you cover a shift? And usually I'll do it because we do a lot of work with the Seattle Seahawks. And so when I drop a guy off, I'll go on the computer, look him up. Pretty cool experience. He said, so naturally when I dropped you off last night, I went on the computer at my house. I started to look you up. And he said, I saw a video about redirection and I saw a video about perspective. And he said, the reason I'm crying is because I just lost my wife. My wife just died. He said, and I've been living my life thinking, surely there's nothing else that can bring me the passion, the energy, the fuel, the driving force that my wife once brought me. Surely there's nothing else as purposeful as my wife to make me get up and give everything I got to everything I'm a part of. And he said, when I saw the video, it's not that it could replace my wife because nothing could ever replace my wife. He said, but when I saw the video, the amazing thing it did was it altered my perspective and it gave me a new sense of energy. I said, great. I said, man, can I ask you a question? He said, sure. I said, you said you had 2 kids, right? He said, yep. I said, okay, cool. Could you tell me at a basic level, in the midst of the opposition, how did you get up every single day, put one foot in front of the other, go out of the door, carry on in your career, and raise your other 2 children in the midst of the adversity? Can you tell me when you took the blow, you had to absorb the blow, how did you get up every single day and still look at life with some sort of energy and do what you had to do? Right? Because the quote says it. You judge the character of a person not by where they stand in times of comfort and convenience. You judge the character of a person by where they stand in times of challenges and controversy. Mike Tyson said it best. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Like everybody is on fire for the Lord until opposition happens. Or when the situation or the circumstances change and they don't get what they expected to get. And so I wanted to understand in the midst of the opposition, how did you get up and how did you carry on and stay committed to your family and to your career? And he said to me, I have to be honest with you. Follow me. He said, my wife had been sick for 30 years. He said she was wheelchair bound. He said the situation in our household had gotten so toxic that every single day we would get up and when we would meet each other in the living room, we would just bicker, argue, fuss, say certain things to each other to the point to where I couldn't take it anymore. And I called one of my buddies and said, I'm leaving. Can I come and stay with you? He said, sure, man, come on. He said, I left. I packed a little night bag. I get to my buddy's house. I get up the next morning. I'm in the mirror and I'm brushing my teeth. And as I'm brushing my teeth, he said he's saying to himself, for richer or for poor. Yeah, we've been pretty poor. For better or for worse. Yeah, things have gotten pretty worse. Through sickness and health. And he stopped, put his toothbrush in his bag, zipped it up. And he said when he looked in the mirror, the conviction said to him, you didn't finish. So you didn't do what you said you were gonna do. You didn't stand in the pocket how you said you were gonna stand it. You didn't be the man that you told her you were gonna be. You were all good when it was all good, but when things started to go south, you weren't the man that you said you were gonna. You didn't fulfill your promise. And he said the conviction took him right back to his home, and when he walked in the door at his home, his wife was sitting there in the wheelchair, and as soon as he walked through the door, she said, what are you doing here? And he said she started giving it to him, and he said to her, I deserve it. Get it out. Say everything you gotta say to me. And he said when she finished, he told her, I just want you to know I'm never leaving again. I'll never go anywhere. Right? No matter how tough it gets, no matter how rough it gets, no matter how bad it gets, I just want you to know I'm gonna stand in the pocket and I'm gonna be here as your husband. I said, can I ask you another question? He said, sure. I said, if you can go back, shift the situation, change anything about it, what would you do differently? He said, it's easy. He said, I would have shifted my perspective and I would have embraced the opposition a lot earlier. He said, because the moment my perspective shifted, not only did my disposition switch, it shifted my whole household. He said, the funny thing is, because of our perspective, we didn't view the opposition as opposition anymore. We started to view the opposition in adversity as an opportunity. I said, bingo. I said, because I'm a firm believer that perspective drives performance every day of the week. How an individual view what they do will always affect how they do what they do, right? The amazing thing about it is I love the game of football, right? I loved everything about it. I was a part of something to where I can inflict violence and not get in trouble for it. Sign me up every day of the week, right? I loved every bit of it. But I understood very early that the game of football was kind of like this stage. It was a platform that God had provided for me to cultivate a certain level of excellence and greatness so that one day when I could no longer play the game, it was certain things I could extract from it to apply to other areas and aspects of my life to make me somewhat of a decent human being. And so the most amazing thing about it was I had a coach, I was just texting him backstage. He changed my life, right? When I was coming up inner city Atlanta, born to my mother at 16, in a 2-bedroom home with 14 people. And I had this dream to go to the NFL, but I didn't have the resources, and I was stuck playing tackle football in the street. And I saw a guy that paid for not only me and my 3 cousins, he paid for kids all across Atlanta, and he didn't want anything in return. And one day when I got the opportunity to ask him a question, because he had to drop me off at home after practice, and my mother was working a double shift at Wendy's. And I'll never forget, I got out of his truck, and my house was 125 Warren Street at the time. And when I got out, I said, Coach, man, I really appreciate it. He said, all right, Inky, I'll see you tomorrow. I said, can I ask you something? I said, sure. I said, why do you do what you do? And he opened his door, got out of his truck, walked around, stood directly in front of me, and I'll never forget, he said to me, son, I'm gonna share something with you, and I don't want you to ever forget it. He said, as long as you can make sure that somebody else's life is okay, he said, son, God will always make sure that your life is okay. And he got in his truck and he left. And so it was hard for me to understand when we played the game of football, how could an individual be a part of an institution and not give everything they had to it if they were doing it for the glory of God? It was hard for me to understand how, if a person had somebody that they loved and they cared about, how could they not push them to get the best out of them if they were doing it for the glory of God and they viewed it in a certain light? And so when I got to the University of Tennessee, I'm gonna be honest, it was Mayberry for me. I was like, man, y'all get smoothies. Like you get steak, shrimp, and spaghetti. Like guys today are spoiled, right? They got their own barbershop, right? They got AC in their lockers, right? They got nap pods. Pods where they could be walking and stop and take a nap. Pods, nap pods. Listen to me for a moment, nap pods. Where they could just be walking and it's like a nap pod. You're tired, you could go take a nap. Nap pod. It blows my mind, right? And I had 2 meetings, and in these 2 meetings, the job of the meetings was to get a sense of direction of what I wanted to accomplish. And so in one meeting, I said, okay, I want to graduate in 3 years, and I want to go to the NFL. They said, well, Inky, you didn't just knock out your testing. I said, I get that, but I really want to help my family. And we had a scrimmage, and I'll never forget our first scrimmage, and I was so excited, I was so hyped. I'm an undersized guy. I'm passionate about the game. I want to give everything I got to it. I have a great scrimmage, right? I'm talking trash. I was a big trash talker, right? Clean trash, but I was a big trash talker. And our chaplain, who now works with the Tennessee Titans, James Mitchell, was present. And when we broke it down and we were walking off the field and I was carrying my pads, and he said, hey, come here. And I jogged over to him and said, hey, man, how you doing? He said, I want you to meet me in my office in the morning. You talking a little crazy. I said, all right, cool. And the next morning I go to see him and I sit down in his office. I said, hey, man, Mitch, how you doing? Like, hey, man, I'm great. I said, what's up, man? What's the meeting about? He said, I want to disciple you. I said, what is that? I said, that sounds hard. He said, yeah, I want to disciple you, like spiritually. I want to go deep with you. I want to help you develop. He said, like when you have meetings with football, like position meetings, I want you to meet with me prior to the meeting, and I want to be able to give you homework, and I want to make you sacrifice and abstain for certain things. I want to help you develop spiritually. That's what discipleship is. I want to go deeper with you. I said, okay, can you give me a second? I want to go talk to my roommates and see, can they do this with me and walk with me, because I want a certain level of accountability. He said, yeah, go talk to him. I go talk to my roommates. At the time, it was Gerard Mayo, who went first round 10 pick to the Patriots. Now he's the Patriots linebackers coach. It was Robert Ayers, who went first round 18 pick to the Denver Broncos. It was Ramon Foster. He's starting for the Pittsburgh Steelers still until this day, and he went free agent. He's been starting for him ever since he got in the league. And I went to him and I said, hey man, here's the deal. He wants to walk with us spiritually. Are you guys down? He was like, yeah, let's do it. I said, I get it. We want to be great athletes, but I think we want to be well-rounded as men as well. And this could be really beneficial, and we can hold each other accountable. When one guy gets weak, another guy can step up and help him out. Can we do this? It was like, yeah, let's do it. Right? In the first meeting, we tried it just to see how serious he was. He gave us some homework. We showed up to the meeting. None of us did the homework. He had us look up some scripture. We walk in and we sit down. He was like, you got your work? We were like, nope. He was like, get out. He's like, come on, man. Like, let's go through the lesson. He's like, no, get out. And when we walked out, I'll never forget, Mayo said, oh, he wasn't playing. I was like, no, he's not playing. right? And the next meeting we showed up and we had everything. We would be in the complex at 4:30 in the morning, going over scripture. We'd be in the complex at 4:30 in the morning with our Bibles open, and Mitch was challenging us. We'd be in at 4:30 in the morning, and he was talking to us about abstaining from sex. We'd be there at 4:30 in the morning. He would be talking to us about different challenges and how to lead our teammates.
the one thing, whether or not this is a dream or not, becomes irrelevant. The only thing that matters, if it is a dream, is whether you can realize what the essence of the dream is. Consciousness. And you can only realize that directly, here and now, as this. Oh. Descartes, of course, the French philosopher, said, "I think, therefore I am." If he had waited a little bit longer before saying anything, he could have come to the point of cessation of thinking, and then he could have made the more profound statement, "I am conscious, therefore I am." Thinking is only an expression of consciousness, a surface expression of consciousness. So this realization of, we could call inner stillness, of spaciousness, of presence, of, well, there's a term that's very popular these days, and that's a good thing. It's called mindfulness, which I use almost never, except when I explain why I don't use it. I don't use it because it seems to imply that your mind is full, but it's not what mindfulness is. It really should be called mind emptiness. The entire practice of, for example, people find certain esoteric spiritual practices very strange and hard to understand. Zen is one of those. People say, what does it all mean? What's Zen all about? Cessation of thinking without loss of consciousness. That's what the Zen masters are trying to show you, non-conceptually. As the Zen master became famous because when he was asked, "Please explain the meaning of Zen," all he would do is raise his finger and look at you. Is that it? Yeah. And I've been in the monastery for 15 years for that. Yes. Sometimes it takes a long time before realizing that it doesn't take time to know who you are. That's a paradox. So I'm not saying don't go to a Zen monastery. Perhaps you have to. It may take time to realize that it does not take time, but it doesn't have to take time. It's here and now. I'm saying this to especially the spiritual seekers among you who have made it your life purpose to seek whatever it is, the ultimate spiritual experience or transformation. And the very seeking has become, without you knowing it, the greatest obstacle to spiritual realization.
First of all, one of the things about the global pandemic that I said to my staff and to my family the moment I heard how the circumstances in the world changed, I just said I refuse to be a victim to these circumstances. So a victim consciousness is when we allow something in our outer environment to control the way we feel and think. So if I say to you, Jay, why are you so upset today? And you said, oh, it's because of this person or circumstance. What you're really saying is something in my outer environment, some person or some condition is controlling the way I think and feel. Now, that's not the truth. That's just a response, right? So anything that controls our thoughts and feelings causes us to be victim to those things. And the stronger the emotion we feel to some circumstance in our life, the more we pay attention to it. And where we place our attention is where we place our energy. So we're giving our life force, we're giving our power away to that circumstance. And so I just made up my mind that it was a great opportunity to get into the cocoon. And I don't think I've been healthier in my life. I mean, I'm usually on 6 different time zones in 4 weeks, running a lot of events, as you said. But I saw it as an opportunity to really self-reflect, to really immerse myself into my own personal work, to redo our website, to redo our brand, to connect more with my staff, to cook my own meals again and work out and use my body and do my walking meditations on the beach, and of course I've had a fabulous 9 months or so. But I think, I think one of the challenges I think many people have is really the discernment of information. It's really difficult to know what's the truth anymore, just because information is so accessible. And I used to say that in an age of information, ignorance is a choice. And now we have to confront a whole nother level, and that is the information that we're getting. Is it actually supporting us, or is it something that really is an incentive to cause us to make choices? So for me, I think the biggest challenge has been just really an awakening to what kind of information I want to expose myself to. And I think it's now more than ever a challenge for a lot of people in the world.
So I'm going to talk to you today about a different way of looking at what real is. It's not easy to figure out what real is because we don't really have infinite knowledge, and so we're always making some sets of presuppositions about what's most real. And it really matters what you assume is most real, because you base the decisions that you make that run the entire course of your life on those assumptions, whether you recognize it or not. And if you get the assumptions wrong, or even if you leave them incomplete, you're going to pay a big price for it. And the assumptions that we use in our culture, although they've enabled us to develop a tremendously potent technology, are incomplete in ways that have also cost us and that are extremely dangerous. And since the scientific age began, we've lived in a universe where the bottom strata of reality is considered to be something that's dead, like dirt. It's matter, it's objective, it's external, and there isn't any element of it that lends any reality to phenomena like meaning or purpose. That's all been relegated to the subjective and in some ways to the illusory. But it's by no means self-evident that that set of presuppositions is correct, because we lack infinite knowledge, and there's many things about the structure of being that we don't understand. The main one being consciousness. We can't account for it at all, and we can't account for the role it appears to play in the transformation of potential into actuality, which is a role that's been recognized by physicists for almost 100 years now, and which remains one of the biggest unsolved mysteries in science. There are other ways of looking at what's real, and these other ways have some advantages, and one of the advantages they have is that they protect us. Knowing these other ways of operating within reality, defining reality, protect us from certain kinds of pathologies. And modern people are prone to a fair number of pathologies that stem from assumptions of the systems they use to define reality. And one of those pathologies is kind of a nihilistic hopelessness, which is a consequence of the recognition that in the final analysis nothing really has any meaning. And because life is difficult, and that's a meaning that you can't escape, being forced to abandon your belief in a positive or a transcendent meaning can leave you weak at the times when you really can least afford to be weak.
I want to read something to you called The Builder that kind of touched me. Because when you start looking at giving your best at all times, that's not easy. But when you are committing yourself to doing something, those are the standards that you set for yourself, because that's who you are. If you're working on a job where you're miserable, they're not paying you what you're worth, you don't like the work, you don't like the people, and you're dissatisfied. If you have decided to continue to take a paycheck, you owe it to yourself to give it your best effort. If you get in the habit of being mediocre or doing just enough to get by, you're not hurting anybody but you. You're cheating you. The Builder. There was a man who was an efficient builder. He had worked for years in a large company and had reached the age of retirement. His employer asked him to build one more house. It was to be his last commission. The builder took the job, but his heart was not involved. He used inferior materials. Timber was poor, and he failed to see the many things that should have been clear to him had he shown even his normal interest in his work. When the house was eventually finished, his employer came to him and said, "The house is yours. Here's the key. It's a present from me." The builder immediately regretted that he had not used the best materials and engaged the most capable workers. If only he had known that the house was for him. Whoa. If he had made a commitment with his life, with his craft, that I'm going to give my best at all times, even if this is my last job, I'm going to give it my best shot because that expresses who I am, he would have been more appreciative of that gift. Would you imagine that? I think that makes a very good point.
I want to talk to you today about staying committed. We all have opportunities to give up on what we're believing for, walk away from an uncomfortable situation, slack off, and not be our best. But if you're going to reach your highest potential, you have to stay committed. You can't be moved by what's not working out, give up on a child because he's not doing what he should, slack off at work because you're not being treated right. You have to have a made-up mind that you are in it for the long haul. It may be difficult. You have a good reason to walk away. Don't take the easy way out. Stay committed to your marriage. Stay committed to raising those children. Stay committed to your friends. They may make mistakes. Give them some grace. Don't be a fair-weathered friend. Be committed in the good times and the tough times. Stay committed to your dreams. Don't give up on the promises God put in your heart. It may be taking longer than you thought, but God is still on the throne. He's a faithful God. He's already set the time to bring it to pass. Stay committed to your church. Stay committed to your job. Be a loyal person, somebody they can count on day in and day out. You're not always going to feel like it. There will be good days and tough days. Times when it's exciting, times when you feel like giving up. That's when you have to dig your heels in and say, I'm going to do the right thing when it's hard. I'm committed to this marriage. I'm going to love you even though you don't deserve it. I'm committed to this job. I'm going to be my best even though my supervisor isn't treating me right. I'm committed to my dreams. I'm not going to give up because I don't see anything happening. I'm going to keep believing, expecting, thanking God. I know it's on the way. God rewards consistent, faithful, committed people. No, stop looking to people and start looking to God. He not only controls your destiny, He controls the whole universe. He determines how high you're going to go. No person, no supervisor, no company can stand against God. He knows what's happening. He sees what's unfair. When you stay committed to your job, when you keep being your best day in and day out, despite who doesn't like you, God will make it up to you. God is your source. He has the final say. But Joel, it's difficult to stay committed to my job, committed to my marriage, committed to this dream. Nothing's going my way. If it was easy, everyone would do it. God chose you because He knew you can handle it. You have the courage, the strength, the talent, the anointing. You're not weak. You're not lacking. You are full of can-do power. You didn't come this far to stop now. The people that see dreams come to pass are the people that stay committed. I've heard it said, on the road to your destiny, halfway through, every person will be tempted to give up. Some turn around and go back. The others stay committed and keep moving forward. What's interesting is both people travel the same distance. One goes halfway back to where they started. The other goes halfway ahead and reach their goal. Committed people outlast the difficulty. Committed people stick with the relationship even though they have a right to walk away. Committed Committed people go the extra mile and do more than they have to. Is there an area you've been tempted to give up in? Or just slack off, not be your best? God is saying, stay committed, stay faithful, stay loyal. Committed people reach the fullness of their destinies.
You have to understand why you're going through the period that's causing you to make you want to give up. See, the devil has one mission only, is to rob you of your destiny. That's the devil's only job. If he can get you to give up, you have been robbed of your destiny. If he can get you to become a criminal, he robs you of your destiny. If he gets you to never follow your dream, chase your dream, he robs you of your destiny. If he causes you to think that this is all my life is, he has caused you to rob you of your destiny. You just have to understand that Satan has one job: to rob you of your destiny. When you have thoughts that are negative, that's not God. That's Satan. He's doing everything he can to keep you from being who God made you to be. You got to get focused, man. You got to understand that this hard time that you're going through is everything you're going through is preparing you for what you ask God for. Every trial and tribulation you go through prepares you for the life God has for you. All the hard times. First of all, let me just say just one last thing. Now I gotta take this picture. You cannot name one single thing that God has not brought you through. If he hasn't brought you through it, he's currently pulling you through it right now.
There are those of you who are still immature. When your excitement is up, your effort is up. Yep. When your excitement is up, your effort is up. Yep. But when your excitement goes down, your effort goes down. And what I want to teach you, and I told you on the mixtape, get over your feelings, right? We're not dealing with feelings because feelings go up and down. Feelings are like the weather in Michigan, baby. You can get 4 seasons in one day if you ain't careful. Yep, absolutely. And for some of you, you're too seasonal. You're too seasonal. When you're excited, man, you come into work, you will blaze. The first week, the first month, the first 3 months when you got that job, you were excited, and so you was putting forth effort. You were there on time. You was leaving late. You was doing everything they told you. Not you got comfortable, and you're not excited no more. And guess what happened? Your effort is going down. And that's why I'm saying let's get off of excitement and let's get to commitment. And commitment said, I don't care how I feel. Commitment said, I don't care how I feel. I don't care if I'm excited. I don't care if I'm pumped up. I don't care if I'm fired up. Listen to me very closely. I told you, life ain't no crystal stair for me. And everything don't always go well. So then why am I doing TGIM and I always look excited? Because I'm committed. Somebody gonna have the nerve to say to me, ET, you charging now? You charging for the content? You're not doing TGIM no more? Listen to me. You know I'm doing TGIM. Why? Because I made a commitment. I don't owe nobody nothing. I'm doing this because I made a commitment. I made a commitment to the world that I was going to provide motivation and inspiration and empowerment. So do me a favor, get off of that feeling stuff. Get off your excitement. You don't have to be excited. You made a commitment to that job. Ain't nobody forced you to take that job. You signed your name on the dotted line. Eric, I'm not feeling my marriage. I'm not excited anymore. It had nothing to do with excitement. You made a commitment in front of her mama, in front of her daddy. You made a commitment in front of his family. You made a commitment in front of God. You made a commitment in front of that pastor, in front of that priest. You made a commitment. Now it's time to put up. Yeah, that's right. Put up. We ain't saying put up and shut up. It's time to put up because you made the commitment. So I need you to do me a favor. If you find yourself going up and down with your effort, remember, some days 70, oh, you were so pumped when you got accepted into that university. You put the acceptance letter on. You had the sweater on. You went to school the first 2 weeks. You pumped up. You excited. Now that class can punch you in your mouth. Yup. Now that freedom of being in school, like you can't handle the freedom right now. And you've lost your excitement now, right? Right now, you missing home. You homesick now. You ain't feeling the food. You done got sick. Listen to me very closely. The excitement is gone, but the commitment is still there. Your mama paying $25,000. Your daddy paying $35,000 for you to go to school. This ain't about excitement. This is about commitment, guys. So I want to help you out. What's the gap, E.T.? What's the gap, E.T.? E.T., why am I not great? E.T., why am I not doing great things?
You. Nobody else can change your life, alter your ambitions, pave a golden road for you. But you can. It's up to you. Be responsible for yourself. Learn to reap the harvest without complaint. This is a sign of growing maturity. And here's where it comes from: taking full responsibility. Take full responsibility for everything you do. Be responsible to yourself. It's your crop. Whatever your paycheck is, take full responsibility. You say, well, it's my employer. No, it's not your employer. You can become twice as valuable, 3 times as valuable.
You could slack off, take the easy way out, but what you can't see is there's a double portion up in front of you. Stay committed when it's hard. Do the right thing when the wrong thing is happening. Keep loving that man, that woman, even though they don't deserve it. When you stay loyal, consistent, faithful, a double portion is coming. Double favor, double honor, double resources. God will pay you back for staying committed. But this double portion isn't for everyone. It's not common. It's not ordinary. It's for people that do more than they have to. For people that go the extra mile. For people that don't give up when it's not exciting. It's for people like you, people that stay committed.